Hey, it's been a while. I know I'm late for this, but I want to wish everybody a happy holidays and a happy New Year's. Crazy to think we're already in the mid-2020s. Yeesh! Now, before I get into everything, I briefly want to talk about 2024 as a year and how that went for me and this channel. Now, I've been putting out videos like this since 2022, and I knew I wanted 2024 to be the year where I would pump out content consistently, because this is a new venture of mine and I wanted to see how far I can take this. And man, did 2024 really surprise me. It really went beyond my wildest expectations. To think I managed to make it to half a thousand subs with just 5 videos in 2024, more so 2 than anything, which I'll get into, is something that I really do feel blessed by. You guys really did show up for the Sonic the Hedgehog video and the Trails video, which is something that I can't thank you guys enough for. Especially the Trails video, since that video to this day is still being pushed all over the place by the algorithm, which blows my mind. But nonetheless, December of 2024 didn't turn out the way that I wanted, because I also wanted to release one more video for that year, that being the review to Sonic X Shadow Generations, but due to circumstances IRL, things just didn't happen the way that I hoped. But what I can say is that we got new things coming to this channel. The first up being discussion videos. Now when it comes to these, I want to try going non-scripted with them. And the reason why is because script making takes a long time for me to do, especially as someone such as myself who goes through a lot of writer's block. And one of the things I've been disappointed with myself with in regards to 2024 is that I left way too many big gaps between videos that I felt could have been filled with discussion videos or something smaller like that to like keep the gaps small between videos so that it doesn't look like I'm ghosting my channel constantly, you know? But if I end up not liking how the video turns out with it being non-scripted, I might script it anyway. But as for these discussion videos, it's more so going to be around topics that I'm interested in. I'm not going to be a news channel or anything of that nature. If something pops up within the gaming community that becomes a large-scale discussion, I'll talk about it, if it interests me. For example, several months ago with the game Sonic X Shadow Generations, there was this whole discussion about how Sega changed the cutscenes of the original Sonic Generations, and there was this whole debate between groups being for and against it and stuff. If that happened nowadays, that would be a discussion video essentially. As for the other thing I want to start doing is live streams. Most of you don't know this, but I did try to live stream once in the past on my channel, and I didn't really like the way it turned out, and it's mostly because I was going through a lot of like delay issues between the stream and the chat, and I wanted to make sure I would iron those out before attempting to do another live stream again. But unfortunately, I'm not really an expert in that field. So for the most part, I'm just gonna grin and bear it. But I do think this will be something cool to do for the channel, because I do plan on doing gaming sessions for those of you who are interested. I also plan on doing live reactions to events such as Nintendo Directs, or I'll even put out a chill stream where we all can just talk and stuff. It'd be a cool way for me to directly interact with all of you. Now when it comes to the regular content on my channel, for the very few of you that's been around since my very first video, you know that I love me some cartoons, especially from the golden era that was the 2000s. And that's been something I've been wanting to return with and do more of lately, is cartoon related videos. Ed, Edd n Eddy is one of the main things on my mind right now, and Codename Kids Next Door is a big one. That's definitely something I can't wait to talk about whenever I do. As well as many other great cartoons from that same exact era, and even outside of that if I really wanted to. In case it wasn't clear enough, I'm also a huge fan of anime, and I've been wanting to make content surrounding that for a very long time now. None of these are confirmed, but one of the big ones that made a really big impression on me as of recent is this one by the name of Frieren Beyond Journey's End. Another one that I've really been into lately is one that I've actually been a manga reader of for several months, even before the anime came out, and that's Dawn to Dawn. I've also been wanting to talk about what I feel is the most underrated shonen franchise of our time, and that's World Trigger. Hunter x Hunter is definitely a special one for me, and I might even talk about the 90s version alongside the 2011 anime. A Certain Magical Index is also on my mind, but I'm more so going to talk about Railgun since I'm a much bigger fan of that for reasons I'll get into for that particular video. And I can't forget about That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. That's a super fun one. And that brings us to the big one, being video game content. Now, I'm in the middle of finishing the Sonic X Shadow Generations video, but aside from that, there's so many other games I want to talk about. I'm not going to confirm any release dates for these, knowing how my track record is, but in the past, I talked about how much I loved Sonic the Hedgehog. I talked about how much I loved the Trail series, and I think it's time I talked about how much I loved Mega Man, the entire franchise from Classic to X, Legends, Zero, Battle Network, you name it. Now, I don't play too many gacha games out there, but there is one that surprisingly became my comfort game throughout the latter half of last year, and that's Zenless Zone Zero. I've also been wanting to dive into Grand Blue Fantasy, both the fighting games and Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, and there's so many other individual titles I definitely want to talk about, such as Devil May Cry, which I know makes one particular friend of mine happy, the Shantae series, Sakura Wars, etc, etc. And that's not to mention the many upcoming 2020 2025 titles that I'm totally excited to get my hands on. With all that being said, that's pretty much it. Again, 2024 didn't end in a way that I hoped it would, but I'm still thankful for that year regardless. Especially since through my videos, I've gotten to meet and become friends with so many other cool content creators, such as Kevin Straight, one of the chillest dudes out there who's also a fellow man of culture, which I can respect. Cyrus Bright, another cool dude who has a huge passion for not just the Trail series, but just Falcon products in general, and it's so cool to see on his channel. The same thing with Mad Kaiser, another cool content creator who's also about JRPGs, the latter two of which I've actually gotten to be involved in collabs with, which is something that I can't be thankful for enough. It was such a fun thing for me to do, and getting to work and discover other cool content creators in those same collabs. But overall, my biggest thank yous goes to every single person who supported this channel and been patient with me thus far. Even as someone who just has 500 subscribers, I couldn't feel any more blessed, and I appreciate every single one of you. The last thing I want to mention is that I want to remind everyone that I do have a Discord. If you're into video games, anime, and many other things of that nature, totally drop by. It's also the best place to get direct updates from me for this channel. With that being said, thank you so much for watching. Let's all look forward to what 2025 has in store for us together. Laters.